Anil Kumar, starting the first lecture under this course. The topic given to me is Introduction to Machine Learning and Deep Learning Algorithms. If we talk about, so first we'll take about machine learning, and then we'll go with their applications part in urban and in other areas, and later on we'll take the deep learning algorithm concepts. If you talk about machine learning, basically the machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence or AI that provides systems ability to automatically learn to AI. So ML is an application in AI domain, and we can have further improvements with time if you see that with respect to the experience, the system is trained with that experience without being any programmed part of that one. So that means whatever experience we are giving, based on that experience, system starts generating its own intelligence. And if we talk about the experience, that means training of the ML model or maybe the DL model, there are different forms of learning approaches can be applied. The first one, which is well established, is called supervised learning. That means we have a sufficient training data with labeled data, we can say, and using that we can train the algorithm. And training of the algorithm means we can generate the parameters of the algorithm. It can be statistical or the learning or the weight parameters. Second case can be when we do not have any training data information. That means we are going unsupervised learning. That means the labeled data is not with us. So we have to go for unsupervised case. In the case of remote sensing, if we are not aware about the samples collected from the ground, so we can go for unsupervised learning approach for processing the remote sensing images. If we have the ground truth data, then we can go for supervised learning approach. With time, we can see the further modifications came up in the learning domain. The third one is semi-supervised learning. So here, when we have large number of unlabeled data, and when we have very small labeled data, so in that case, to train the algorithm, we can adopt the semi-supervised learning approach. In that case, using the small labeled data, we can use that as a seed labeled data, and then we can do some lot of iterations to refine the learning parameters. The fourth one, when the deep learning came last around 10 years back, the fourth learning approach is called reinforced learning. Here, the reward or the punishment is given to the algorithm to get it trained. The fifth one, if you see in the literature, the temporal learning is also there, and with time, people are evolving the different type of learning approaches for ML or DL. The very basic applications, if you see for the machine learning, that is for classification and for prediction purpose. So classification means in the context of remote sensing, if we have pixels, we can group them, maybe say a few pixels to be as a class of water, and few pixels maybe as a class of settlement, and some pixels, if they does not belong to any of the class, we can label them unclassified pixels. So this can happen as a supervised or unsupervised case. So the first application in the ML, you can see the classification. Second is for prediction purpose. That means we can use some regression algorithms to predict like tomorrow rain will occur or not. So if the rain factor parameters we know, we can train the algorithm if we have the labeled data, and then we can do the prediction that tomorrow rain will occur or not, or in the coming 10 years, what will be the population of a particular city. Like that, the different areas we can have the prediction or classification applications. With time in the remote sensing domain, if you see, one more thing is evolving, that from machine learning can we map a single class of interest. And this is maybe new in the case of machine learning, but if you see the human being practice they're adopting in the real life, they do one task at a time. They go to market to get one item at a time. So that means they are looking only the shops where that particular item is available. Same way, nowadays, very specific applications are coming up where we want single class of interest to be extracted from a given image. So that is an application coming up. So can we do that? And the answer is yes. Further, if you see the type of machine learning algorithms in the literature, and if you are doing some short courses which is conducted by the management institutes, they will be focusing mainly the machine learning algorithms like support vector machine, random forest, decision tree. And you may think that these are the only algorithms coming under machine learning algorithm. So this is a myth. Actually, if you see, there were different subdomains in which the machine learning algorithms were defined with time, and different algorithms have been evolved under machine learning. So there were previously statistical algorithms, there were fuzzy based algorithms, there were learning based algorithm, there were decision tree based algorithms. So all these different subdomains has been clubbed as one domain, and today you see only one domain called machine learning. So once you talk about all the algorithms under machine learning, so it can be the very basic algorithm like C-means, maximum likelihood classifier, linear mixture model, support vector machine, random forest, decision tree, fuzzy based classifiers, ANN based classifiers. So all these classifiers which are coming up in different subdomains in the past, nowadays they are coming only in one domain under machine learning. Out of these algorithms, you can explore them from the literature, but if you focus and have already explored for so many years, the fuzzy based algorithms have very unique properties for which we should think to adopt them and use them. The capabilities of fuzzy based machine learning algorithms, if you see in the context of remote sensing data processing, one is they can handle very nicely the mixed pixels. There is always chances there are few mixed pixels or more number of mixed pixels in a given remote sensing image, which can be handled through fuzzy set theory. And from fuzzy set theory, the fuzzy machine learning has been evolved. Second is noisy pixels. There are always misbehavior of the sensor, or from the ground there are unwanted classes, so they all are working as a noisy pixels. So can we handle that? Yes, there are fuzzy based algorithms, they can handle these pixels very nicely, or we can add some extra parameter in these models through contextual approach, that is through Markov random field, or through neighbor pixel concept we can apply, that is the local convolution method. So we can add the neighbor pixels or the contextual information basically in the spatial domain to handle the noisy pixels. Third is there are few fuzzy machine learning models which can handle the noisy pixels, and that gives you further applications to map or to identify the single class. Further, we can add the kernel function in these models to handle the non-linearity between classes. There are chances that between classes which we are looking for, there may not be a straight hyperplane separation or a straight line. There may be some curved surface or curved line. That means there is a non-linearity between classes. So how to deal it? Any classifier, if you are exploring in machine learning, they cannot work on non-linear behavior of the classes because they all work with linear separation. So how to deal it? We can use the kernel functions to make this separation to be linear and then separate the classes. One more good advantage in the fuzzy based model is they require very small training data. In the today's scenario, we cannot invest so much cost and so much time to collect the training data. So we have to think that can we work with very small training data or rather zero training data. So the fuzzy models can work with small training data. We can explore further to do some modification that can they work with zero training data or just with seed pixels. We have experimented with cognitive science where we can give very small training data in the time domain and we can go on processing the time domain images using the cognitive approach to train the algorithm. Further, when you collect or process the or when you extract the different classes, there are some issues when we go for supervised learning. We have to follow the data should be the training data should have a true label so that we can take care that the samples are pure, that we can take care they belong to the same class, that we can take care when we are collecting the samples. Second is samples should be well distributed. That is also possible. We can take the samples from different locality of the image. And third is the samples should be homogeneous. In the case of remote sensing images, they are represented in the form of pixels. So these pixels within class are not same pixel values. So when the pixel values are not same, they have a small deviation, and this deviation gives the heterogeneity within class. There can be n number of factors in the class due to heterogeneity. And once there is a heterogeneity, that means we are not following the rule of samples should be homogeneous when we are collecting the samples. So when we have not followed this rule, the accuracy of our classification will not be very high. So in that case, we have proposed last 2 years back one approach called ISM, individual sample as mean approach, and this takes care how about the heterogeneity in the samples. So overall, we can have very intact, very good one of the machine learning model if it is in the fuzzy domain. And we can have large number of applications. It can be in agriculture. It can be monitoring the disaster monitoring or urban studies. So fuzzy machine learning model gives you very good result, but still this may not be sufficient to use the very good fuzzy machine learning model. Why? Because there can be very high spectral overlap between two or more than two classes we are extracting from a given image. So this spectral overlap cannot be handled even though we have selected the best classifier in the machine learning domain. So how to handle this spectral overlap? We have to go for a temporal data. So once we are able to use the temporal data, we can handle the spectral overlap. One example I can show you, like it may be beyond the urban area, like we have tried to map the paddy fields transplanted in a specific dates. And here you can see we have experimented with multi-sensor approach. Today is the time that we should explore not just single data, or we should try to use the data from different sensors to get the much better information from the remote sensing images. So here you can see the objective was to map the transplanted paddy fields. So here we have used one image of 19th June, where it was the field was just fallow. By 29th of June, the water was applied, that is standing water in the fields. The third image was 8th July, where these fields has to be mapped as a transplanted paddy field. The transplantation has taken place on 8th July. And further, the fourth image we have used after post-transplantation of these paddy fields, that is on 13th of July. So here you can see the first two dates were images were from Sentinel-2 optical data. Third image from Landsat, which is at 30 meter. Sentinel-2 is at 10 meter. And the fourth image is Sentinel-1 as a SAR microwave image. So we are able to accommodate the images from three different sensors, and it's possible to map the transplanted paddy fields. Because we are not having continuous data from Sentinel-2 for 8th of July. So we have taken the one substitute from Landsat 8, and further it was cloudy, so we did not got any optical image of beyond 8th July. So we have taken one image of SAR image from 13th of July. So it is possible to include the phenology of this transplanted paddy fields. And here you can see the transplanted paddy fields, but you can see one more problem, that there is a non-parallel river or canal was still mapped as transplanted paddy fields. So again, this is one of the example of spectral overlap. If you see the phenology of transplanted paddy fields, it was dry field, then filled with water, then transplantation, and the vigor, the further growth was happening in that plants. If you see that this dry canal, it was dry, it was wet, filled with water due to rain. After that, the grass start growing, and further grass has grown. So grass is giving same impact like the transplanted paddy. So here what we have done to separate this canal from the transplanted paddy fields, we have taken one more image of 6th of March. So in time domain, this image has given the field information, which was filled with crops. The crop was present, and since it was belonging from Haryana area, so in that region, the maximum crop was wheat crop. And here, once that element of that vector came, Here you can see this canal has been vanished. So we got only the very rigid, only the transparent paddy fields on 8th of July. But here I would like to show the example of importance of temporal data to handle the spectral overlap. This was experimented with the deep learning model. We'll elaborate this deep learning model in the coming slides. But here, just for an example, how we have done the structure of CNN model, we experimented. So here, this is the 128 layer has been used from a convolution layer, then 64, and then max pooling and so forth. So with this CNN model, it was possible to achieve this. We have also experimented in CNN model to have a hybrid approach. That means RNN LSTM layer was added at the two stages. You can see here LSTM1 with 64 layers and the LSTM2 with 128 layers, which was the optimum structure we have designed. And here we are able to achieve the accuracy, but CNN model was giving much better accuracy than the hybrid integrated model. And here you can see we have also optimized the model with respect to number of samples. We have experimented just taking 20 samples, 30 samples, 40 samples, and 50 samples. We found the 50 samples were the optimal samples to get the maximum accuracy. So one of the myth, what you know, that the deep learning models require large number of training data. It is not the case. You have to see the optimization in the model so that the sample size or training size is smallest on which the model can be trained. Further, you can see the example of a spectral overlap in a Shahabad area using the temporal data with single sensor. Here we have tried to map the sunflower crop, basically monitoring the sowing stage of the sunflower in different time, which fields has been sown. If you see in the time domain, this field is looking to be fallow, just the germination is happening because the crop cycle is from February to June, July. So we have taken the images from 21st March to 30th of April of Sentinel-2 for the Shahabad area of small area in Kurukshetra district. Here we have gone for NDVI approach, but here it is again modified one. Here you can see the NDVI, there is a prefix called CBSI. So we have designed and proposed this CBSI approach. The advantage of using CBSI approach, it does not ask what bands should be used in NDVI. It will automatically take the bands required in NDVI and it will give you the best enhancement for the class you are looking for. The full name of this one is called class-based sensor independent. So it's just defining the class with respect to the geotagged samples, and it is sensor independent. It will not ask the sensor belongs to which category, what are the band locations in that sensor. So it will give you this will give you the best enhanced class with respect to NDVI. So once this is done and taking the temporal information of these images, you can see it was possible to map the early sown, middle sown, and the late sown. The red patch are your early sown, green one is the middle sown of the sunflower crop, and the blue one is the late sown. Coming to urban application, we have also published this work. This is a really very important idea. We have tried to do that. And also you can see the integration of the dual temporal images. So here the objective what we have framed, can we map the transition of the building footprints? That means there was an open land, it can be grass or soil. And after a few years, this area has been converted to some built up area. So can we map in a given city at a particular time frame, how much area has been converted from open area to built up area? So that was the objective. So that means that a transition from open space to built up area. So answer was yes. So mainly we have experimented with 10-meter Sentinel-2 image. So so we have taken the two time frame from 2013. We got the Landsat 8 image, and 2019 of the same month, that was October, we got the Sentinel-2 image. So using these two temporal images, it was possible to map in the Dehradun city itself how much area has been converted from open space to built up area. And this paper was also published in SN Applied Science Springer publisher. So here the model we have used MPCM fuzzy based model to extract this information with two time domain information. So here you can see that was the first COVID wave time we have done this this exercise, and we have taken the Dehradun city itself as a study area, and the few pockets we have identified for training and testing. So this Baruwala colony south of Dehradun was considered as a training site, and other sites like Doon University, Kalidas Road, our IIRS campus and its surrounding, main Sabji Mandi of Dehradun, and ISBT of Dehradun was considered as training or as testing site to test the output results what we have got. Here you can see directly the output from Kalidas Road and within the IIRS campus and the surrounding of the IIRS campus. Like there is Shivalik apartments on the end of Kalidas Road. If you see this area, it was easily mapped through this model approach using the 2-day temporal data. When we have gone for NDVI difference, it was just showing the NDVI difference value. And this was quite difficult to pick it out that is it that same area and what are the other areas which has been picked up in the time domain, which has changed from open area to built up area. When we have gone for post classification change detection, again, this area has not been picked up so nicely. And within IIRS campus, you can see B is your Vikram Sarabhai hostel here. C is the Golden Jubilee hostel here. And then D is a standalone bungalow just at the gate where they have changed the building. Basically, its rooftop has been changed and they have put an extra metallic sheet on the rooftop. And that's why you can see that appearance is also coming as a difference as a D. And then Meridian Heights, which is at the first bend at the camp near to the campus, as a new apartment came up. So this was also mapped very nicely. Further, you can also see at the test, at the training site itself, if you see the Google map, the area was totally covered by vegetation, the tall trees, which was now converted to large size of buildings in the same area. And you can see the change from 2013 to 2019. Through NDVI difference, this at the building level footprint was not possible to map. Same way, when we applied for post classification change detection up to building footprint, this change did not came out. But here you can see through fuzzy output, you can see the building footprint was easily mapped in this application. For Doon University, which is now old university, but there were 2 buildings came up in the campus as a new buildings. So this was also possible to map in this campus, and also the surrounding few building was also mapped. Maybe it is a residential area, and in the 6 years of time domain, new buildings were also there. For main Sabji Mandi, if you see this is the area for the main Sabji Mandi area. In 13, you can see it was not so much developed. In 2019, this has been developed so nicely. And surrounding of this area, a lot of new apartments has came up, which was picked up by this model compared to NDVI difference or post classification change detection. Same for ISBT. You can see at the ISBT, again, it is old campus for the main ISBT of Dehradun. But surrounding of it, you can see a lot of malls and the government buildings has came up, which was mapped very nicely through this approach. Further, this work was published in 2021 with the SN Applied Science Journal, Springer publisher. And same work in 2013, we have continued with lot of modifications as we got the idea. So here in this case study, we have taken only 2 dates from 2013 to 2019. But in the next case study, we have taken the 4 images starting from 2013 to 2021. And the training approach was not only the statistical parameter. We have experimented with the ISM approach where the transition was not from single class to another class. It was going in different classes. Like you may have a built up area in 2013. It is demolished and then you got the open land after 1 year. Open land was again converted as a partial transition built up area, and finally you got the built up area. So here in the 4 stage, it was not open land to built up. It was built up, then open area, then partial built up because construction was going on, and in the final date you got the built up area. So can we map this one? And number of times in some case study like within IIRS campus, we found one building. Previously there was some lawn, there was a building area, so which has been changed to open area, and further finally we got the final building. So can we incorporate the lawn, building, roads, which was there in that area? And finally, that complete area has been converted to built up. So you can see in the past domain, there is a lot of heterogeneity. Some area was lawn, some area was built up, some area was some roads, and all these complete small patches has been converted to built up area. So can we handle this heterogeneity in the time domain? Answer was yes. So here, in this case study also, we have taken the Dehradun as a test site because we know a lot of things. We don't require much ground truth for this study. So again, we have taken the training site for at Kalidas Road, Sabji Mandi area of Dehradun, ISBT and Doon University, and testing site was Barwala area. So here you can see the images what we have tried. We got the Landsat 2013. We got the PlanetScope and the Sentinel-2 of 2016 and 2019. Then PlanetScope and Sentinel-2B of 2021. So here, this is a concept of multi-sensor. Plus, you will see the transition is not just one class to another class. It was going from different classes. So here you can see the different time domain, the different classes, how it is changing. Like if you see the blue one, it is changing to tree, then building and building. If you see the orange one, it is going grass, building. Then green one, it is going building, and then soil and then building. The yellow one is going soil, building. There are different areas. They were changing in time domain in the different ways. Why it is tree? Maybe in the previous 2 dates, the area was having trees. Then trees was removed, partial building came up, and then final building came up. That way the transition was there. And we tried to incorporate this heterogeneity in the time domain. So here you can see one of the good application of the new academic building in the IIRS campus. This is the building which was there. And if you see in the past, this building, there were lawns. There were lawns here. There were again lawn. There were parking space as bitumen, and there's an admin building here, small, and there was small hostel called A block hostel. All this complete area has been changed to a single building. So we tried a different training approach and the 4-day temporal data. And if you see the multiple transition means we have taken the samples. It was from lawn to building in time domain, or it was bitumen area to building, or the building to building through ISM approach, and that was C. And this has given the best result. Or we have taken the single transition, just we are taking lawn to building, so we did not got that much good result. Or when we are applying the multiple transition with mean parameter, that's the E case, still the result was not so much good. But when we have taken the ISM approach with multiple transition, we got the best result. And you can see the accuracy also with single trend of transition and the multiple trend of transition. And there is a 2 approach, 1 and 2. 1 means mean approach, and second means it is individual sample as mean approach. So overall, you will see this has given much better result with a multiple trend of transition. And you can see the kappa coefficient, and you can see the MMD, that is training and testing site difference, as well as the variance was minimum. That means within class, the deviation between the pixels was very, very small on the output image. You can understand the heterogeneity, what I've talked about in the previous slides. If you take a forest patch and if you take the pixels here, you will see the pixel values are not same. Within the forest patch, it is looking homogeneous, but it is not homogeneous quantitatively. And if you see an open area, you may see the white patch, that is dry soil. The cyan is a wet soil, and the greenish is a dry grass in the area. So you have 3 subclasses in an open area. When you try to classify, you may not get the very good result because there is a heterogeneity in the input itself. And when you collect the training samples, the samples are not homogeneous; they are heterogeneous. So here also you can understand the heterogeneity. That means the same field, it can be building or it can be lawn or some agricultural area. They are not appearing same. Somewhere it is healthy crop, somewhere it is weak crop. Somewhere it is medium size of crop because the fertilizer is applied different way, the water is applied different way, soil condition can be different, the sowing field to field is not same. So with all these factors in agriculture, the samples are not homogeneous. In the case of urban also, at the top roof is not same, and that's why you don't get the homogeneous samples. So what we have tried, what I mentioned in the previous slides, in place of using the mean parameter, we are exploring it using ISM approach, where this can take care of the heterogeneity which is present in the samples, because that the heterogeneity in the samples will always be there. We cannot remove it, but we have to take care how to accommodate that heterogeneity in the samples. So question you can see, the very basic algorithm, if you talk about an ML, is C means. So it should be C means or it should be C ISM. Think over it. We have also experimented this in the agriculture crop area. You can see in the Banasali campus, this is the Banasali campus, and you can see the runway in that campus here. And we have tried with for few crops like mustard. This field was taken a sample by myself, very homogeneously mapped while using the individual sample approach. Same field, if you see, which was mapped with statistical parameter, it is not homogeneous mapped. And you can see the other fields mapped for mustard crop, they are not mapped very homogeneously compared to this output. Second, we have also experimented during the first COVID time. We got very less samples remotely. For Jallor, as one of the district in Rajasthan, we experimented for castor crop, which is a medicinal plant crop. And here it was possible to map this castor crop using ISM with fuzzy based model and temporal data, where it was possible to incorporate its phenology as in the crop stage, like from emergence, flowering, seed formation, productive stage, and maturity. The crop cycle is from October to April as a Rabi crop, and it was possible to map this castor crop. Further, in the same area, we got the samples for isabgol, and we have taken its stages from budding, pollination, ripening, seed maturity, and sun drying of the plant. You can see for isabgol, again, we experimented with ISM approach, and this was possible to map these isabgol fields. And not only mapping this isabgol field, it was also possible to do monitoring of the crop. That means the harvesting of the crop. We can map the fields got harvested for isabgol by 21st March 2021. The fields got harvested by 24th March 2021, and the field got harvested by 27th March 2021. This was only possible to incorporate the Dove temporal data. Initially, we experimented with Sentinel-2 data, and in that we have added the further CubeSat Dove data, and with that it was possible to go for specific crop harvesting monitoring, and this is the output we got it. And there are a lot of publications on this, we got it. Overall, if you see for urban or mainly for agriculture crop, there is one scheme at the national level given by our Pradhan Mantri ji, that's called Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So all this technique what I've talked about for ML, that gives you input for crop insurance. You can say, take a case, one area is having the healthy crop at the sowing stage, further germination, further growing, and after some time, some disaster happens or some disease occurs and this area got affected. So this area is not having the healthy crop. So can we map this area? If you see the healthy crop cycle will be like this, and the disease affected area will be like this. So if you take this signal, you get the healthy crop. If you take this signal, you got the affected crop. And that way you can estimate how much area of a particular crop got affected due to different factor. Further, in agriculture sector, we have also tried as a cognitive based approach this year. In the last 2 years, we have gone for this study. Cognitive means we want to map the burn paddy fields at some given time interval. Say every 2 days interval, we want to map the burn paddy fields. So we require training data of every 2 days when we want the output. So every 2 days, we want the training data. Can we cut down, because the burning is well known in India for Punjab and Haryana, from October onwards to November or the first week of December, the burning goes on for the paddy, this stubble burning. So we were having the data every 2 days or every 3 days. Can we map this? So if we can map, we require the training data every 2 days. So we have tried the cognitive based training approach, that's the human experience. So once we have the training data of a particular date, so can we go forward or in the future, in the past, to map to map the images of both the dates? Answer was yes. So these are a few field photographs one of the MTech student has done, and I was also there accompanying him to collect the samples. And you can see the heavy burning has taken place in the evening hours. So you can see what we have experimented from 12th of October 2022 up to 30th of October. We have tried to map the burnt paddy fields. In 2022, there was very sudden rains at the harvesting stage. So the paddy crop harvesting got delayed. By 12th of October, there hardly few fields were mapped. Even by 15th, 16th, 17th, or 18th. Even 19th or 20th, there were very few fields which were mapped. But 21, 23 onwards, there was heavy burning because harvesting has been picked up by 21st of October onwards. You can see by 24th, the burning was picking up every alternate day. What we have got the output, you can see maximum burnt fields coming out. And by end of October and also by the first and second week of November, there was heavy burning has happened. So here you can see by the burnt fields as a percentage burnt in a given area at initial October months days, the burning was very less, and it is picked up from 21st October onwards, and you can see the burning graph in the form of burnt percentage for a given area. Here we have also tried the issue was the shadow and the water bodies were appearing like a burnt fields. So we have tried to add the indices information. We have also tried to add the spectral information from other data from Sentinel-2 to cut down the water body spectral overlap with the burnt fields. Further, in the current with one of the second student of MTech, he has tried to map the sugarcane, ratoon, and the plant fields within a given area of Meerut surroundings. So here you can see one field by 30th of January 2022, how it is appearing. It is just further germination of ratoon is happening. And if you see by September 11, 2022, the field has been of ratoon has gone for full maturity for harvesting. It is ready for harvesting. And from October, end of October onwards, the harvesting starts. So up to October, we have used the data, and it is possible to map the ratoon fields present in a given area. So this gives a direct application to the sugar mill people to estimate how much ratoon is there in their sugarcane catchment. And same way, they can also map the plant crop of sugarcane present in a given area. And here she has experimented with the mean parameter of the training plus ISM training. And for plant and for ratoon, you can see for ISM approach, the accuracy was very high and the variance was very low. Same for ratoon and same for plant. So these outputs were much acceptable than this one. And here you can see for 2022, the ratoon fields were more than the sugarcane plant fields. Plant is the first year crop and the ratoon is the second year crop in the sugarcane. She also experimented to map the healthy ratoon as well as the diseased ratoon. In the ground, what we have noticed, any field if you take of the sugarcane, it is having 1% to 50% disease. In some field, the disease can be 1% because immediately the farmer has taken action to stop the disease through pesticide spray. But in some field, when the delay has occurred, so the disease has went up to 50% field was affected by the disease. So we have taken the field which was affected 20% to 50%. So it is possible to map the healthy field, and it is also possible to map the diseased ratoon fields. She has also experimented to map the harvesting of the ratoon or the plant. So once it was possible to map how much area is there for the harvesting of the ratoon, and after adding the temporal dates which are giving the harvesting every date wise, so it was possible to map the harvesting. You can see here harvesting by 22nd of October, 30th of October, 1st of November, 13th of November, 16th of November, 19th and 22nd. So you can see at around 5 to 10 days interval, it is possible to monitor the harvesting of the ratoon. And this, the sugar mill can keep an eye that at every week basis, how much harvesting is happening in that sugarcane catchment area. One more thing, the farmer, what they does in the ground, when the people from the sugar mill comes to label that your field is ratoon or plant, they simply says that this my field is ratoon, because they knows the harvesting of ratoon comes by October onwards. Even though his field is plant, he will forcefully or some illegal method he will make to write that field to be ratoon, so that by end of October onwards he get an order to harvest his field and send that sugarcane to the sugarcane mill. So what it is doing, it is converting that label of plant to ratoon, and he knows my plant will be ready by end of January or February, but he is illegally doing it to change its label to ratoon and sending that sugarcane to mill. So this illegal practice can be stopped when once it is labeled in advance which field is ratoon and which field is plant. Accordingly, the sugar mill people will ask to send their sugar cane to the mill. We have also experimented with the machine learning for lavender aroma crop in J&K, that is Donda district, during the second COVID wave. We got the ground truth of this area. It was possible to map this lavender crop in this area. You can see these patches are the lavender crop. And one of the PhD scholars is working on forest species. She has tried to map the shisham crop or rosewood, or it's called shisham, near to Dehradun at Barkot forest range. This is basically river ravine forest, and along the river you will see the shisham and the katta. So she has tried to map these shisham areas with the temporal data of around 19 or 20 images of 2021 using Sentinel-2 as well as the PlantScope data. And this paper was published by her in Journal of Applied Remote Sensing in 2022. She has also experimented for acacia care. This is again mixed forest with the river ravine forest along the near to the Dehradun forest. You can see along this river the acacia trees there. Now this paper is also published now in IEEE Geoscience and Remote Sensing letter last month. And she has coined a new terminology. You have also heard about panchromatic, multispectral, then semi-hyperspectral image when the MODIS came. And then later on, people got the term called hyperspectral image. But today she has coined one term called semi-hypertemporal images. So in this, for acacias, she has experimented from 1 day to 32 temporal images. And she found the best result got when she's using the temporal images from 25 to 32 images in an year. Long back, if you see towards geoscience and application as a post-earthquake study, in 2021, on 26th of January by around 9 a.m., very strong earthquake came up in the Bhuj area, and lot of area got converted as a liquefaction area. That means the soil got shaked and the water from the underground came on the surface, making the artificial water bodies. So can we map these artificial water bodies has been developed through the earthquake, and can we separate with the existing water bodies? Answer is yes. So one of the PhD scholar has used the pre-earthquake image of 4th January and post-earthquake image of 29th of January. And it's possible to map this area. You can see the red patches are coming as a liquefaction area in the Bhuj earthquake. And once this area is identified, further analysis underground can be done why that liquefaction has been occurred in this area. What was the soil and the rock conditions below this area to go for geological studies. Further, same student, same research scholar has gone for Balakot, which is again in 2005 or 2006. Very strong earthquake came in the Balakot city, where the damage for the urban built-up was 80%. And if you try to map the landslides occurred due to this earthquake, the built-up area which got damaged and the undamaged built-up area, they were giving same signature when you try to map with a single date, because all are soil. Landslide is a soil, built-up damage and undamaged is also soil. So he has taken the pre and post date data, and with that, with the fuzzy model, it is possible to map and separate the landslide area, built up damage area and built up non-damage area. This was published in Natural Hazards Journal. Coming to machine learning to deep learning, if you talk about the deep learning, it has different applications. Like you can use the deep learning, very good example for detection purpose. If you want to detect some objects, you can use the deep learning, and there are different models starting from RCNN, fast RCNN, faster RCNN, mask RCNN, fused fully CNN, XGBoost, SSD called single shot detector, or YOLO, and so forth. So these are the different deep learning models can be explored for detection purpose. And here you can see one of the example in the urban case. If you want to map the buildings with very high spatial information of the image. So what the problem was coming up when we trying to map these buildings, these road and the ships were coming as a building as a built up area. So what we have tried, we have used the detection for masking purpose, automatic masking, and we have used the fuzzy models for classification. So we have created the bounding box to isolate the buildings through deep learning model. We have experimented with SSD model and later on with YOLO also. Once we got the bounding box, this box has worked as a mask to isolate the buildings. Once it is isolated with this box, we have taken the signature data of the building and we have applied the fuzzy models to map the building. So here you can see the spectral overlap with the road and the ship which was coming has been curtailed, and we got only the isolated buildings. Further, you can see maybe one way in urban, if you have some pollution issues, there are some different sources. One of the source is the brick links, which is a partial licensed activity happening at the district level, license given by the DM. And these brick links contribute to around 9 months in a year, the different components coming out in the environment. So can we detect these brick links to do some monitoring? Answer is yes. Not only to map these brick links, it is possible to map the brick links, they're active or non-active. And that's one. Second is they are using which technology? They are using old technology or they are using the new technology. If you see the old technology, that the shape is the elliptical shape. The new technology is using the shape is rectangular shape or the square shape. So according to the shape or according to the environment present, we can know they are active or non-active, or they are using the old technology and new technology. If the brick links are using old technology, we can detect, and then we can issue some order or warning so that they can convert the technology towards latest one, so that the environmental contribution as in pollution should be minimized by these brick links. So here you can see we have used the SSD model. Later on we tried YOLO also to detect this building, these brick links, and we can get the point map data, and we can get the lat long also. Maybe through we experimented through mask RCN also, and we got the lat long. Once we got the lat long, we can locate these brick links on the image or on the ground, and we can issue the order to know that they're active or non-active brick links. If they're active, we can see they should be using the latest technology of burning the brick links or preparing the bricks in place of the old one. Second one, within Indian, one of the airport, I will not disclose because it will be little classified. We experimented with the mask RCN model. Around this airport, you can see some small objects like hangars, which are the parking area of the fighter planes. So can we map these hangars? Answer was yes. And we got this output, and you can convert as a point map also, and you can get the coordinates also. So there are a few applications, and I'm not experimenting. I'm not telling this here. I'm just not included. There are different models in the deep learning like GAN, which can use the transformation. That gives you different applications. It can be for improving the information content of the image or removing some unwanted information like that. So which I have not covered. Anyway, I'm stopping here. And with time, we got 2 publications here. If it is coming up. Yeah. So this is a second book. We got it last month with the CRC Press. This is one of the book video launch, which explains about the importance of a specific class. It can be urban sector or agriculture sector, or in the disaster, can we have some specific class and the book is focusing on it? And in 2020, we got the first book on fuzzy machine learning for remote sensing data classification, again with CRC Press. So this is the book video launch of the first book on fuzzy machine learning algorithms for remote sensing image classification. So thank you all for listening my lecture.